Today we are going to do one of my favorite recipes from the fall meal plan, and that is the coconut almond pumpkin chocolate granola. What a mouthful, huh? It's one of my favorite recipes because it's a granola and actually it doesn't have any grains in it at all. So it makes it safe for people who are gluten-free, or for those of you who have people in your families that are gluten-free, or for those of you that would just like to eat a little bit less grain overall and go with a little bit more nutrient-dense foods that are actually going to help fill you up. So very simple ingredients, and it tastes delicious. I bet you no one would even know, even if they're a big granola fan, that there is no grains, no oats, nothing in here like that. So in this episode, we're going to use just a few simple ingredients that most people would probably have in their pantry laying around. We have coconut oil, which you can obviously tell I got at Costco. Costco is not always bad, especially for great things like this. We have pumpkin seeds, we have some coconut flakes, which are in the big shreds here, and we have some chia seeds, which are totally optional, but I use them again because they just give it another extra crunch, and they have some great omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids in there. Makes it more filling. And then some crushed almonds. You could also use a different type of nut if you wanted to. And then some unsweetened cocoa powder. So it's delicious. You'll see how we do it. So watch how easy this one is to make. So first step, I turn the oven to 375 degrees. You're going to add about a third cup of coconut oil to a bowl or straight into a saucepan. Depends if you're going to use a microwave or not. So we'll just scoop it out here. Coconut oil is one of the best things for your metabolism. It's a medium chain fatty acid, and it is a great thing for digestion and for energy as well, and also has this just amazing flavor. And depending on the brand, some of them have more of a coconut taste than others do, so depending whether you like coconut or not. Hopefully that would be the case if you're making this coconut granola. So I'm just going to stick this in the oven so that we can let it warm up. And all that's doing is just kind of helping it melt down so then we can whisk it with everything else. What we need next is a big bowl. So once we have our coconut oil melted, we're going to be able to mix it with the rest of the liquid spices and then pour everything all together. So while that coconut oil is melting, I'm going to add the pumpkin seeds. And for each of these ingredients, the pumpkin seeds, the coconut flakes, you want to make sure you get the bigger shreds. You could do the smaller shreds, but it makes it a little bit harder to eat, especially if you're going to eat this granola on its own. So I have equal parts pumpkin seeds and coconut flakes. So about like a half a cup of each. And I have about a quarter of a cup of crushed almonds. Again, you could use a different type of nut if you wanted to. And with all of these, there's nothing exact about the proportions. If you love a nuttier granola, put more nuts in it. If you want more coconut, do that. If you love the pumpkin seeds, do that. There's nothing to it. I am going to put the chia seeds in as well. And then we have our cocoa powder. So cocoa powder is very kind of tart and bitter tasting because it doesn't have any of the sugar in it that chocolate does. So for this recipe, we only need a little bit, and that's going to give it the chocolatey taste. So just a few, I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons here. And you can always add more. Once you make this recipe once and see that, you know, if you like a little bit more chocolate, add a little bit more. If you like a little bit less, then do that. I'm also going to put some cinnamon in here. So I think it's really hard to overdose on cinnamon. So you can just put as much in as you want, or as little in as you want. This is probably about like half a teaspoon or so. And then a few cranks of sea salt, which sounds counterintuitive for something sweet, but it actually brings out the sweetness even more. And don't be shy with your spices. A lot of people are very shy and they actually don't add enough. So if you want to get great flavor, you should add spices and not be so worried about having too much in there. So we have the coconut oil right here, nice and melted. And all this does is just helps me mix in the maple syrup a little bit easier so that it's not as sticky. So on this maple syrup, it's going to be the same amount as the coconut oil, maybe a little bit, I put a little bit less in. I don't like it super sweet, but it depends who you're making this for. And we're just going to whisk these two together. So the coconut oil is not completely melted yet, but it will be. And then once we have them mixed together well, all we're going to do is pour it in our coconut and pumpkin and chia seed mixture over here with the almonds. Pour it all in the same bowl. And then we're going to mix it together. Spread it out evenly on the baking sheet and make sure you have some parchment paper so it keeps it nice and clean. You don't have to scrub that pan forever. Then we're going to put it in the oven, 375 degrees. Take it out after about 10 minutes or so and it's a little bit crispy. So I just pulled this out of the oven. We have our pumpkin chocolate coconut granola all ready to go. It smells great. If you want to keep this and keep it around for the week, make sure you let it cool first before putting it in glass Tupperware containers. And if you like this recipe and want to see more, make sure you're signed up for the Simply Real Health weekly email. Just go to simplyrealhealth.com, put your email in, and every week you will get a free healthy recipe, a tip, or a piece of advice on living a healthy lifestyle made simple. Again, this is Sarah Adler. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you next time.